Initially, I made Oberon build back when Kuva siphons were the only way of farming Kuva, because it seemed convenient to have constant healing when everybody's pets are getting wrecked all the time versus level 100 Kuva Guardians. But it wasn't that great outside of it, as you relied on rage to keep your energy up, especially when other people can just wipe map in a single click, so you can't really do anything about your energy. So I kept his use pretty limited, and it was helpful for that, especially because of his niche passive ability that boosts pets and gives them one automatic revive. With helmet upgrade that changed, and I started using Oberon way more since he finally got a way to sustain his energy on his own, with Protea's Dispensary. And now their Archon missions are having limited revives, it might be a place for him, because of his amazing augment, Phoenix Renewal, that acts pretty much the same as Nidus passive, just works for the entire squad. Dispensary replaces his fourth ability, as I feel like that's not needed. And between giving away that or his first ability, it's an easy choice for me because augment for his first ability gives a boatload of radiation damage to everybody. To build it, I went all in because I really ended up liking Oberon after that change. So there's 2 Umbral format to fit all 3 Umbral mods. Prime continuity for some duration since Dispensary needs it. More ability strength, and as we mentioned, Phoenix Renewal Augment. Equilibrium is there to make better use of Dispensary. You can go for Arcane Energize, but this is more convenient, since Dispensary gives large health orbs. Choice between Adaptation and Smite Infusion comes down to a mission. In general, you don't need adaptation, so having that buff is nice, but in some cases enemies do a lot of damage and you can't revive yourself, so priority changes. I feel like if you're a part of the squad, then going for a buff is an easy choice, but for solo plays it depends. Choice between Molt Augmented and Molt Vigor comes down to length of the mission you're playing, Vigor being a choice for shorter mission, Augmented being there for endurance. Arcane Avenger is a good fit because you can get stuck in and shot at a lot, so it's a free buff for all your weapons, though you can mix stuff up there if you like. To avoid using 2 Umbral Forma, you may use lower rank Equilibrium, and it still works great and your energy will be full all the time. Using lower rank Adaptation is also an option to lower the Forma requirements, as that mod caps at 90% reduction regardless of its rank. To aid ability strength, I went with Madurai for extra 40%. I used Power Drain on my Parazon for extra 50%, and the secondary weapon I carry there is Doomfinger with Pax Bolt. Stacking all that can give a lot of healing and armor to everybody. To top it off, for endurance you can add Nidus Spectre to push for some silly numbers, but even as with this resulting in 150 to 170 health per second and 700 plus armor, it's very solid. Arbitrations are where this helps a lot since Phoenix Renewal works to prevent deaths. Even with the cooldown of 90 seconds, it's more than useful. Archon Hunt Defense is where I ran this too and had good times. Some enemies can really deal over the top damage, so better safe than sorry. And I guess Oberon competes for this role with Wisp, even though they are quite different warframes individually. What Oberon has over Wisp is more healing per ability strength. He gives radiation damage buff, which works well with condition overload related builds, and he gives status immunity to anybody being on his hollow ground, and of course ability to avoid death. So he is a better healer. She just gives more utility with that attack speed and movement speed increase, as well as more health, but Oberon gives armor, so effective health gain is about the same. Wisp does have better assets, gotta give her that. With the punishing nature of Archon hunts, I feel like Oberon might get his place here. With Dispensary in his pocket, he's full-on perfect support, giving healing, energy, damage buff, and saving people from death. I already used them in longer arbitrations, and it performed very well. Awkward thing about Oberon is that if you play something like Mobile Defense, your healing aura is not around you. It's in the area you casted the thing. So to heal new objectives, you need to recast the ability in their proximity. With such complications around ability strength that I've did in this build, it can take a bit. But even having less strength for those missions is fine. Also, one thing that grinds my gears is when you touch a nullifier field, you do not get to know if your healing stopped or not. Because the ability is still blinking and all your allies still have that healing icon next to them. so you really need to be mindful of it and not trust icons if you weren't sure if the nullifier bubble touched you or not. Use of Prime Sure-Footed is arguable here, since whoever is on Oberon's green grass of Chernobyl has full-on status immunity as well as status cleansing, and spamming that to cover the area you play in is not an issue with Dispensary. Worth noting is that to make Equilibrium work and pick up health orbs even when your health is full, your companion needs to have Synth Fiber on them. That way your energy recharge is almost instant, as each health orb from Dispensary gives you 110 energy on max ranked Equilibrium. What you lose with 4th ability is armor stripping, but I think that's worth it since armor on enemies has been significantly nerfed, and your damage buff from your 1st ability works in the other direction to increase damage. And I feel like to make your 4th ability more effective, you'd need some range in this build, so some shuffling would be required. I kinda wish Oberon's healing aura was around him, so allies who happen to lose it can just get it again by passing through it. In general, it's Dispensary that unlocks Oberon, as he always suffered with energy management. Way DE could mitigate this is by changing his augment for his 4th ability to spawn large health orbs or give energy in some other way. That would make him a complete frame on his own. But even as is, it works if you're willing to invest a bit of work in there. No other frame can prevent deaths of teammates, and honestly, it feels good when you see that happen. That's it for this one. Thank you for watching, subscribe to help the channel out, and I'll see you in the next one.